Good morning, welcome to my channel. Hello everyone, it's the Roxy Journal of Stitchery gang is back together. Volume 5, how exciting, how exciting. I had a brief little chat with Rachel about a month ago, and she said that this whole series was right up my alley, and already I can see it's right up my alley. Creating different projects that are useful to us, like fantastic. So, I've been thinking. For me, it's Friday. For you, you're watching this Saturday morning. I've driven back Thursday to Brisbane, so I'm back in my craft room, in my natural environment. Mind you, it is very shredded of things. I've tried to leave a little bit of everything in both locations as I move to Burham Heads. But I do have some paper, and you're probably wondering, what is the girl up to? Been thinking all the way back to Brisbane. It's a 4-hour drive. Thinking about the trifold pouch. Now, sorry about the plastic. I want to make a prototype first because I've been thinking, and it may not work, but it should. I know it'll work on paper because I've made them myself, and it was something I think Rachel even created, or she would have seen it somewhere and has given credit to them for sure, but I just don't know what the history of this is. The concertina ephemera holder in a trifold product. Like, I don't even know. What do you call it, Rachel? I'm not sure. Now, just before I get started, I've got myself here a trifold pocket that I made ages ago for my mum because I bought her a piece of jewellery, and I slid it into there and stacked a couple buttons to create my closure. I just put 2 on top of each other to wrap my sari silk around. So I then made a heap of these for the stitchery swap. And they were probably about that big, and I put in my little stitchery piece and popped them in the mail to the ladies that I was swapping with. So I'm always making these little trifold pouches. They are so good for gifts and just, really cool. When I was going through Mum's things, tidying up a little, once she passed, I found it, and I thought, oh, I'll take it back home. Dad's not going to ever need this. So I thought I'll bring it back home, and I've been using it for all sorts. If I go on a trip somewhere, I'm constantly putting bits and pieces in, or it sits with a project. So you cannot have enough of these little pouches. They are so handy to carry your bits or sort your bits. Imagine a heap of these in a container that was a particular theme. It might be lace cut-off bits or scraps of something. You know, they're just fantastic. So what I thought I'd do, if this doesn't work, I'll just, you know, back down a little bit and do one of these. But I think it might. So I'm going to attempt to make it, I don't even have a cutter here. How am I going to do this? Let's get rid of this. I might have to just rip it with the ruler. I haven't made anything scrapbooking-fied for a little while, so I might just have to use a ruler. That should do it. Okay. Pepper and Bandit are with me. Oh, talk about cuddles. Oh, just fantastic. How wide do we want this? So we need our piece exactly as the girls have done. Just the big, long rectangle. I think this was an A4 page, if I remember rightly. So the length is pretty good. I'm going to go with that. Maybe take a little bit off the side, maybe an inch. How am I going to do this? Maybe just the ruler width a bit. I hope this tears. Yeah, oh, so good to be back. Pepper and Bandit. Chelsea's been looking after them. Oh my goodness, I tell you, they were just squealing and yelping, and they missed me, I missed them. Well, I hope they did. I can see them all on cameras, so I know they had a whoop of a time with Chelsea too, so I hope they miss me. The neighbours had to look after them for I think 3 meals, because Chelsea obviously has a social life around New Year's, lucky girl, and went to some festival. So next door came across Brad and the kids to feed and lock up the dogs for the evening and then let them out of that smaller enclosed area. It's sort of like it tucked in against the house. It stops them from hunting frogs. Let's be honest, they'd be out roaming all night if they would behave themselves, but they don't. Pepper goes and collects green frogs, and it's just horrific the sound those frogs make when she's got hold of them. So we've put some temporary fencing sort of off the corner of the house to sort of create a large enclosed area. It's under a patio. What am I trying to do here? I just ripped that terribly there. So I was watching it on the camera, and oh my goodness, they ran rings around it. The kids were there, so that was the first problem. They were like, kids, let's play. And Brad, poor fellow, he's trying to get these dogs to go into their enclosure. I think I need to allow a good area here, because you picture this, when it's full, it's going to have this divided concertina thing happening. So if that's now full of bits, we will literally have a base that's like that and then a top that's like that. And that allows you to put treasures in it. It could even become quite even bigger, to be honest. So I might even look at it from this angle and decide where we fold. For now, that's a good start. And that can thicken up if it has to. Well, it will, by the time I put some fabrics in there. But that's at least the folding point. So for measurement-wise, I've got a tape measure here. My piece of paper, which will end up being my piece of fabric, but let's just test this before we get 14 inches by, let's say it's nearly 9. I'm like 8 3/4, but you could probably do 9. And then the first folding point is at 3 1/4. The next one is at the 6. But you don't really need to fold it because you're using fabric, so it'll just mold itself around it. I'm doing that just for, you know, a guide on paper. If you wanted to make yourself a paper one, you could. And that way you get a good feel for how, you know, how it's going to work. Now, I won't be sealing the pouch like this because I need this all to be open and have room for expansion. My edging will just be around the panel at the end, and then they'll be attached here and concertina out all these little envelopes. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at those first. So we want this little envelope thing to sit in there. At what height? I'm going to be smaller than bigger because I think that might pay off. I don't know if this will work, guys. I figured if at least try it in paper, make our adjustments now before I start cutting fabric, because fabric is a lot more precious. Okay, so this component will need to be able to expand to some degree. So it's going to need nearly a gusset. Let's, whoops. There's probably a pattern out there somewhere that does this. If anyone has seen this done anywhere, let me know in the comments so we can all go and have a little look and make sure we're on the right track. If this doesn't work, you just won't see this video. It will be just a standard old pouch, and I'll be talking to myself about now, but I think it will. I think it's worth at least having a go at it. Now, fabric, colours, theme, I don't know. I really would like to dip into my French fabrics that I got on my French textile tour last year. But they're pretty precious. So that was sort of another reason I decided that I'd have a go at making it in paper first. So the plan is that that would go in there to create a gusset. Is that the right word? I think so. So where's my glue? Do I have glue still in this house? Yeah, I do. Back in a moment, guys. Got the glue. So the journal girls make these to fill full of bits and pieces, trifold concertina pockets. So even that might, I should have probably gone and watched some of those videos just to make sure I was on the right track, but I didn't. It was because I did so much thinking in the car. And when I got home, it was an afternoon of playing with Bandit and Pepper, and then suddenly it was getting dark, feed them, feed ourselves, and then I just crashed. It was just a big day. So I like to give the place a really good clean before I pack up and come back to Brisbane. Just bring that in a little bit so we hide that fold. Okay. I'll leave that one off for now because we're getting measurements too. I probably should, before I get away, just trying to put my pin back in my glue, because I might tear another one. I think we'll only do 2 pockets inside because it might get a bit thick just in the fabric side of things. And it may even be that the fabric inside actually needs to be maybe sparingly stitched with layers. You know how our work gets quite chunky? So it might be best if inside is just beautiful fabric, maybe with camphor stitch and not too much layers. I don't know. I don't know, we're in uncharted territory here. Okay, so that's my second pocket. Of course, it'll have the same setup. It'll have the gussets that will then join to there. That allows you to pick inside your pocket. Okay, and then that gets attached to there, but only through this center here, so that it just catches and can be opened. Does that make sense? If that was stitched tight, it becomes too tight to look into. So you've got to have a little gusset to at least look in your first pocket, and then it concertinas out with this air here and here, but still attached. So we'll probably just put a running stitch through here, where normally that'd be a little bit of glue, and then the same thing, a little bit of running stitch here, which will attach it to here. So that will be attached to there, that to there, that to there, that to there. Everything open here, bar the actual pockets. You center it in the middle. Hopefully there'll be plenty of room to expand. I think once we get it made, we'll know if we can do a third pocket. It might become too chunky, and then by the time you put things in, it literally might just be 2 pockets. That's the unknown at this stage, because we just don't know how much our fabric will, you know, bulk out just making it. It might be just, I don't know, very small things we put in this pocket. Not sure. We'll give it a go. What have we got to lose? Now, the other thing I wanted to quickly give you before I move on is the measurements of this. And that's ended up being nearly 10 inches by 7 and, make it, if you made it 7.5, it would be fine because you're still within the perimeters of, I might even make it a bit bigger myself when I do that fabric, because I think to make sure my pocket is at least a little generous, I might even make another 1/2 inch onto that. So let me just write that down. It's currently nearly 7.5. If I made that 8 across this way, and then that I think's good. We'll make it 10. We'll round it up because there's plenty of room there. Plenty of room top and bottom, and we're going to come a little bit bigger so that when that opens up, I've got a bigger, longer pocket. My gussets at this stage are nearly 2 inches, so let's make it 2 inches by my piece folded in half, which is 5. So I'm going to need 4 of those because I'm doing 2 pockets. And I'm going to need 2 of these because I'm doing 2 pockets. And I'm going to need 1 of those, all in calico, muslin, a base fabric. Yeah, I think that will work. All right, I'm going to pause the camera and go and create all of these elements so that I'm ready to go. And then we'll have a think about the logistics of, you know, stitching it all together a little bit more and decide on whether I be brave and go into my French fabrics or I play it safe and just go into some colourful scraps that I've been collecting from different people who've put packs together that I'm hoarding and I really need to use them. So I do have that container here as well. But anyway, let's pause the video. I'm going to get myself calico ready with all of these bits. Back in a moment. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm still getting myself organised here, but I thought, oh, what the hang, turn the video on. So I'm just increasing. This is the internal pocket. I've already ripped myself a piece of fabric for that red card, the external. So now I just want to get my internal pocket base. You could just go straight into fabric, but I don't know, I like to have something for everything to sit on. Just stabilizes your work too. So let's just get this little guy taken. So this is the second pocket. And I thought what I might do is I'll finish constructing the paper version, because I thought, well, you're probably still sitting there going, what is she talking about? Gosh, I've got threads everywhere. You should see in this room, in my Brisbane craft room, it's carpet. Oh my gosh. I'd forgotten what it's like to be working on carpet up at our house we're moving to. I put tiles in my room. Oh, what a blessing they are. They are fantastic. I walked in here, and because while I was waiting for Gaz to get out of bed and get on the road, when we went up there pre-Christmas, I started ripping some more Japanese rice bag bases, because I thought, oh, this year I'll probably use them somehow and do a few more. That's these bags. So I've cut myself, I think, enough to make another 2 or 3. And I had a little bit of the canvas left, so I've just squared it all up, base cut them, and I've since decided that I will probably use them in the calendar, Susanna's calendar project. There'll be more info on that coming. So there's a few of the months calendars that are so cute with animals. I'm probably telling you something that I have not yet told you guys. Yeah, I have. That'll be, I think Wednesday is when I start the January calendar. I filmed it 2 days ago, that first video, and had an epiphany. Decided what I was going to do with some of the images. And now I'm letting the cat out the bag by telling you being Saturday. So heads up, that's coming. So there's our little internal pockets that will sit inside our little trifold pouch. So that opens, that will open, and then, so this piece here, this back one, will stay pretty much as you see it on the table. But it's these little guys that will pull forward because I'll have this gusset connecting them, and they'll be connected just through that center with a line of stitching that's just there, and that makes them all follow each other out as you pull forward. I guess that leaves us an opportunity here that could be a pocket as well. Gee, now we're getting fancy. You could put a pocket on this, pop some things in. But then when it goes up, they'll all fall out because it flips down. Okay, need to think about that. That's not going to work. But this should. Okay, now back to the paper, just for those out there that are new to all this shenanigans and are sitting there going, what did I miss? I missed something. That's usually me when I'm watching someone's video and I'm half watching and I should be watching, and I'm doing other things, usually stitching, and I look up and go, oh, how did she do that? So I'm just going to keep making my templates. We need another 2 of these little gussets. All right. Fold those. These gussets may need to be deeper. I don't know. I don't think so. I think our measurement should be right on this. Because at the end of the day, they're anchored here. My glue is just not going to. They're anchored here, and the depth they open really is no different because they're anchored. Oh, sorry, I'm just talking to myself here. The only way I could make that open more is that I do a fold either side of the fold, so that when they're glued in, we have that. That might not be a bad idea. Let's have a little play with that. I guess what I'm trying to think about here is fabric is a lot bulkier than paper. So I have a feeling we probably should give ourselves a little spine there. I'm going to, I think, because I would hate to not have the wriggle room in the bag because I've been too sharp with my turn. That doesn't even make sense. Let me just show you what I mean. I think you guys are sitting there going, yes, 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 definitely, can't hurt. It's a little bit wonky, but it's just a prototype. Now we'll stitch all that in. Well, that'll be fun to try and stitch it all. Oh, come on. Behave. I need to apply some pressure for a second for it to grab. There we go. So, yes, 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 yes. We need to have a 1/4 inch. It's not even 1/4 of an inch. It's a little less, but it could easily be. I think I will make it 1/4 of an inch. So these gussets, instead of folding them like that, find your middle by doing that. But then we're going to fold it just a fraction past that middle fold. Turn it around, fraction past the middle fold, to give ourselves that little bit extra space. Like, I know when I'm packing to take goodies away, one needs to have lots of goodies. And if my little pouch here, my trifold concertina pouch, isn't big enough, well, the girl's not going to have a very good holiday because she hasn't got enough morsels with her to play with. Okay, so that's there. Pretend that we've just stitched that. I'd say we'll be able to put this pretty much together like that and then fabric over it, like have it tucked in. Whoop, wrong side. Don't know. We'll think about the mechanics of construction when we get to it, but I think that should all be pretty straightforward. Give or take a bit. We're winging it. I think that's why we like the girls' work so much. There's no pressure, and we can see that they're winging it too, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Nothing's perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just have a bright spark idea and have a crack. Why not? Now my gussets are hanging out the top because they're too long, but that's fine. So now we've got this little, give it a second, girl. So used to working with fabric, I'm not allowing time for the glue to dry. Okay. All right, so we've got our 2 pockets for the internal of the golden question is, can we do 3? I have a feeling not. But gee, it would be fun if it was. I have a feeling that fabric will add bulk. This is not paper. So let's assume that that is now looking like that. And this is going to be attached. This one will be attached to there with a running stitch just through like that. You want all the swinging in the air. You don't want it pinned down too much, otherwise you lose the ability to have it pull out. And then this guy gets attached to there. Let's do it. Not that I'm getting much glue. Let's pretend we've just stitched here. And then we put that on there. Give it a moment, Corrine. So now you know how this, I think, is going to go together. If you want to crack on and go for it, you can. Because I figured I really needed to test this myself. The only thing that could be a problem, like I keep sort of rattling in the back of my head, is the thickness of everything as we create it. But I think it'll be okay. Is that stuck? Now that should be just enough to attach. See that? Oh, I can hear the angels singing. There's a ray of light coming from that. Look at that. So if that's the same there, this little guy just nestles there. So you could then have this lie down and then you know, pull it forward. But I have a feeling we will attach it there. Yeah, we will. Forget about the whole pocket idea, girl. On the inside, we will attach it there. So the whole thing will open like that. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. A lot of work. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. What would it be without more stitching and more stuff to make? I think 2 will be fine. I'll have to have 3, but 2 will do the trick. And, you know, you could put your scissors in one and some threads, and then maybe a little piece of stitching in the other, and then we're ready for it to be put into the main trifold that the girls are doing. So you're back to doing what the girls have shown us, but you can also start working on that if you'd like to add some pockets to the inside of your pouch. And then Rachel and Sarah will show us some closure ideas at the very end. All right, love it. That's going to work. Where's my red piece? Let's finish it. No, whoop, upside down. So pretend we've got a stitch line here, attaching our trifold in. Center that in the middle of that folded area. And that gives us plenty of space for the... Could we do it without? I don't know, I see this as an opportunity. No, just do what you're meant to do, girl. I think that should have been lower. I'm going to take it off. Take it off, take it off. I think I made a boo-boo then. I think that needs to nestle lower. Let's try that again. See, great idea doing it in paper first. And get all the rules right. Because when I folded that up, it barely covered it. We'll see how the fabric comes together, because I think this flap here is an opportunity that might logistically be difficult to... Imagine that as a pin cushion. Imagine... No, keep going, girl. Just finish what you're doing before you go off on another tangent. See, that's classic. In you go to get your goodies. But, okay, happy? That's it, sorted. What if, when all this gets stitched in, what if this area here became somewhere to slide your pins and your needles, like just a little pin cushion thing? It could flap, it could. Oh, hang on. Another piece of paper. What if, this is just an idea. I don't know if I'll do it, but I probably will. What if this became a little tuck spot for your pins and cushion, your pins and needles? What if that closed with a little catch or a tie, and then you open it up, get your pins and needles out, and then that could go back up there and it'd be with you in your project. There's an idea. That would work. Once again, it will come down to how thick this gets with all the collaging. So we'll make that decision another day, but maybe we've got to stick to this because it just gets so full of fabric in here, and then you put your stuff in there. Maybe here could be the pin cushion. That could work too. It could be just a couple little padded areas, decorative padded areas that don't even need to open. You do a couple little I don't know, you could put one there and one there, stitch them into the flap, and then that becomes, let's stick it on. All my bits will get lost if I don't adhere something. So one goes there. Remember, it's going to have an edging, so these may even have to be smaller. Unless you're not edging it and it's going to be a raw scrappy edge, which it could be. But I believe the girls will go through how to do your fabric, you know, tearing it down into little morsels and attaching it and stitching it on. So you would need to consider that. But, you know, I knew I'd get those pins in somewhere. Your pins could go into that and your needles. So then you've got yourself a little sewing thingy as well. And then all your scrappy little edges come on. Oh, how cute. This is going to be fun. All right, guys. So the trifold pocket is now going to have pockets inside. We'll see how this goes. And I think the trick to it, for it even to work, is we've got to have some gussets in these. There's got to be that extra space there. Otherwise, you're not going to get your hand in, let alone bits and bobs. it's going to get quite full, so this needs to be generous, and it might end up sneaking right up to here just to get the thickness we need. I think it'll work. All right. Okay. Now, is the girl confident enough to lay down her beautiful French fabrics, or is she going to be chicken and use some vintage fabrics that she's acquired? Oh, I'd love to play with the French fabrics. I'll show you what I've got here. This I pulled back from Barham and brought it back to Brisbane with me. So I'm taking stuff up to my craft room only to return it. Now in Wednesday's video where I start Susanna's January Seaside, I had earmarked a pack of fabric from Susanna and a pack of fabric that I got from Sarah when we did volume 2 Christmas, and I wanted to do a blue Christmas and a traditional red Christmas stitchery. So I bought her Sarah's blue, and I've been squirreling it. And in Susanna's video that I make, welcome back, when I did the looking for blue fabrics, I opened up Sarah's pack and I opened up Susanna's pack, and I pretty much put them all on the table and started selecting my colours to create my ocean scene. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's Susanna's calendar, 1 image per month for the year. Now, I'm doing all of them, but making things with them other than a calendar. So my ocean theme needed blues. I went through Sarah's pack, and all of these fabrics were not either the right colour, or they were floral, or like there's reindeers here, they were Christmassy. So that they stayed together and I didn't lose them, because these are all purchased pieces from some of my favourite vintage fabric suppliers, you know, when they create kits. So I've kept them all together because I guess someone else has put the colour scheme together. So I just love the fact that this is Sarah's choice. So if I did a project, I would stay within Sarah's choice, which would keep the memory of the project, Sarah, the fabrics, you know, it all together. So in the video, I had the bright idea that I would stitch a running stitch across the top here. So I made a fabric flip of Sarah's package of bits and pieces. A lot of the other bits, she had yo-yos and beads and that, they're sitting in a box with the sea project. I've got to film video 2 this afternoon, which is starting to put more detail into it. The background's done, but more detail. So things like this pack, I can't remember who I got this from. There's a few UK ladies I buy the odd fabric pack. I would probably do the same. If I got into the project, I would, you know, make a fabric flip so that I remember who I got it from. So where I'm getting with this, my goodness, what a waffle, is in here are bits and pieces that could go. See, there's another pack. Now that is, I believe, a Vintage Blend Studios. I might be right, I might be wrong. I don't know who that is now. I think it might be. Yeah, I'd say so. It sort of feels like, yeah, it'd be Susanna. See that piece there? That I've used in the Seaside one. So she must have had some packs going when I bought the blue one. I bought the pink one. Let's see. Yeah, see, I've got a bit of Susanna in here. So, where I'm getting with this is, do I do it using all these? Or do I do it with my French fabrics? I want to use my French fabrics, guys. No, put it away. I just threw it in the car as we were driving out the driveway, literally, because I thought, well, what fabrics am I going to use for this project? And then I thought, well, if I stay within the French theme, maybe all of the projects we make this season are using my French fabrics. That'd be nice to have a collection of usable items that are all based on my trip to France. Now, remembering we've got this bit that comes up here and this bit comes down here. So when I go through my fabrics, oh, got these twiles. They would make great imagery. Oh, boys. Gosh, how long's this video? It's just not quite big enough. They'd be rather cool to have seated there, wouldn't they? Find a little home for them. I suppose if it went, I've been wondering what I'd do with this piece. Wouldn't that be nice to see? No, I've just covered their heads, so I could put it this side. And it's possible their head might go over the fold, but it could go there. Or do I save it for a project the girls have got coming that might give it more, you know, presence? That one I've used, but have a lovely morsel. That's the flower here that I embellished on my Japanese rice bag. So saving that for a rainy day. I think this needs to be a little bit more freeform, you know, just bits. I've got some fabrics here too that Susanna picked up when she was over in Paris and England. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Okay, let's think about the flaps again. Goodness me. Going round and round in circles, but that's okay. I want to make sure that everything can be seen in its glory, you know, there's no use. I think that would be nice there. We're off, we're racing. Oh, it's so delicate. Now remember there'll be an edge, so I don't want to put that too close, and then, you know, the fabric comes in and takes half my flower away. So I'm going to just sneak it back from that edge a little bit. So I've got a heap of Susanna fabrics here. Oh, beautiful. All right, so that will come down probably to the point of really showing that off. So what do we put across the top here, this edge? That would work. But I want to put lace on, so I could probably sneak that across there, maybe a bit of it. Oh, I don't know, tearing it, ripping it. Where did I cut this flower out and I never used it? Where are you? I've got a heap of this fabric. This will be good for the inside. Oh, look at that. Like that. That could go over there. Okay, I think I've got enough to get my directions right. Oh, look at the time. Like, seriously. I think we'd be close to time, wouldn't we? I better check before I get too carried away. And I can't find my pins. They're at the other end of the table. Okay, I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to jump up, grab my pins, check how long I've been recording because I've completely lost track. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So I've got about 15 minutes. So I went to iMovie and popped those 2 little videos in, which quickly told me that I had 15 minutes. So what I will probably have to do is pull it up at the 15-minute mark and leave it at that. We did achieve a lot. We got a plan, and then I will keep filming, and that will be your next video. When you know, the next day, episode 2. It's like a blooming mini series, isn't it? So once again, I have an edge that will come along there. So I'm just going to sneak back a little bit because I don't want my little birdie to be... You've got to have a bit of a think about the placements of your fabric, because you don't want to, lose some gorgeous imagery into the binding. Actually, you don't want to lose imagery into the binding. And when things flip and fold, I think I need to move that down because I have a feeling that that flip is going to be a lot smaller than I probably think. And I guess too, the beauty of slow stitch, if we find that this is too small to do what we need it to do, like wrapping around everything, we can always add an extension. We can add a piece of lace or something to make it a bit longer. So yeah, just keep in mind that, keep checking that when you fold up and down, things that you definitely want to see when you're looking at your piece, like your flower and my bird, are exactly where they need to be. So I'm not going to get this finished in the next 15 minutes. So I will definitely need to come back. I just don't know if I should use any of this because I will be most likely using it on the inside. Yeah, let's save that morsel for a rainy day. This one here, I don't think it really works with my whole look. I could definitely use a bit of this. I might flip it over and cut off a piece of this. Where's my big scissors? Did I bring them back to my craft room, or are they still in Burrum? My goodness me. You know, my gold handle scissors, that just would be too good if I'd forgotten them. All right, it's okay. We will manage. So I can dig out my French laces. Oh, the excitement of it all. Oh, I like that edge. So this side, I can look for imagery on fabric that could be sitting up this way. Oh, hello, look at you. Perfect, perfect. Move him over. So he's coming through. Maybe I will get it all placed out. I am pretty slick. You've probably noticed that I move fast. All right, so that should be able to tell me that anything that has an image on it or with feet is a certain way. That goes that way, this is up, this is that way. Okay, I'm going to put that piece back in the pot. This piece could certainly be utilised. I might put it... The other thing too, with the binding, just had a thought. If you're concerned that you're losing some imagery, don't stitch down this edge, because the binding, there's nothing stopping it. When I'm talking binding, remember the scrappy bits that neaten it up at the end that the girls will most likely do around there. So I'm preempting that they'll do that. and these bits will be stitched. Let's make it smaller for what it is. There's nothing stopping you if you come to a beautiful piece of fabric and your binding is going to go over the top of it, is don't stitch down the very edge so the binding can come through like so, and then that drops on top of it. There's no reason why you can't have a bit of a mix of layers there. So the binding would catch that. Like so, as I'm going around the perimeter, and then this one lays on top like so, and it just changes your look a little bit. So I'm thinking that that little piece has just found a home there. I don't want things to line up like that edge with that edge. So I've just adjusted that a little bit. Where's my pins gone? I'm not sure about that check there. I sort of feel like it's got a little bit overpowered by everything, to be honest. And it's such a big pattern. Maybe it needs to be up there. You could fiddle with this for hours, but eventually you just got to make a decision. Maybe that comes up a little bit so it peaks over the top of the... See, that's a seamed edge there too. It's probably the bottom of a curtain or a sheet. So we'll leave that in play. Once again, think about the binding. I don't want to lose any of that gorgeousness. So I'm just going to pinch it back from that edge a little bit. Okay, I've already got that scrap on. Could bring a little bit of green in, but we'll wait and see what else we've got. Definitely some of this. This is so pretty. Oh, look at that. What a gorgeous edge that would make. I don't know what to cut first. Let's just take a piece of that. And I'm flipping it over because I love that. Maybe I don't love that. Do I love that better? I don't know. Oh, goodness me. I'll put it over here where it's got nothing to compete with at the moment. We might move it, but we'll see how we go. Now, I noticed in Rachel's video, I don't know if this is intentional or not, she had a space that was quite blank. So I have a feeling there'll be some form of created piece there. I don't think I'm going to do that because I've got all this fabric that's, you know, competing for little boy and dog. Little boy is just visible. I'll leave that for now. That fabric doesn't really suit. This little morsel could go on. It's good because I'm using, you know, my little pieces, which is great. I think I need to fold it again and just double check my placement. So that's the flap, that's the one that comes up the top. That would be peeking through there. Yes, I like that. So that would be out of sight. See, that's the things you need to consider when you're working out your placement. Well, maybe you don't need to consider it, but it's not quite. Okay, flip it over. Let's see if he has a home here. Maybe it doesn't. You've got to be happy with it. No use putting it on if it's not quite. The jewelry's out. Got this little piece too. No, I never found a home for this. Let's close it up again. Something's blocking me here. I think it's this check. I'm just going to remove the check. These flowers are appearing upside down to me. Am I okay with that? I think so. Maybe this will give me a breath, you know, take a breath due to it being so heavily laden. That could go under there. It's tricky because I want to see those little flowers poke through. Oh, I just don't think I want to cut into that yet. Yeah, it's like a sampler from a upholstery shop in Paris. Maybe I've got to maybe I'm getting too matchy-matchy and I've got to start bringing in a few random tones. Maybe that's my problem. It's always my problem. I've always got a problem. There you go. I've got a random piece. Let's get rid of that. Too matchy-matchy. Yeah, I like that. So it's just broken it up a little bit. My little bird. It'll come together. It always does. Don't panic, anybody. The girl will figure it out. So I might even end up taking that back a little bit. But at the moment, it can peak there. And remember, this top section might end up actually being only that big. I might be looking at something that is not actually going to happen. It could even sneak right up to there, which I'm okay with. It actually looks better. It actually looks better like that. Because of the expanding fabric. Maybe that goes there. And then that will come up over there if we see it, depending on how the fabric moves. Then I think I'll leave it, don't move it, it's good there. All right, guys, how we go? 14 minutes. That's the hour. I wish I could have got it all in one session, but it ain't gonna happen. So I will say goodbye to you now. I will then turn the camera back on because I cannot walk away and leave this. I think the secret is to bring in these sorts of tones, which makes me think I need to. I know when I bought all these fabrics and I was going through all those sale places, the markets, I kept bringing green into my selection because I gave myself a colour palette. Otherwise, I would have got out of control. So green sort of came in because it was so red. So my instinct, even when I was shopping, was to have all these. Oh, I like that there. That's good for an edge, isn't it? The only problem where I can see with that imagery there is if I do a lacy edge. But I think if, let's say that this becomes a bit too tight once it's got all of its bits in, and the whole thing is a bit too small, this outer piece, and we've got to put an extension in. Let's assume that this is a piece of lace and the extension is attached to create the new flap, because this bit is now part of the external sides, and my overlay to seal the bag has just completely disappeared, which is possible because we're getting, you know, a lot of fabrics here. I would stitch the lace underneath this edge. That way I don't lose these little guys. I don't lose that. And I've got my little bird. So I'm really happy with that. Not sure about that check. Not sure about that at all. But I feel like we're getting there. That's the top. Yeah, I like that. That's the bottom, which is coming together. I've got a feature. That's where I think Rachel will do something. So hers is quite plain there, as if she's going to get creative. So I've got that. I might seed stitch through all this or something. Maybe I need to go to lace next. I don't know. And then we turn it over and we've got space here to fill yet. Okay, guys, I better, you know, switch this video off and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.